a lot of text there, so I'm going to move on. Next game is Castlequest. So as I'm sure you might have noticed by now, I love puzzle games. Other than Donkey Kong Jr. and Archon, every game in this block is somewhat of a puzzle game. And this one is a different type. You can see already here in the demo screen, what we have to do in this game is there are 6 different colored keys and corresponding doors. Each key can only be used once, so you have to make decisions, and the map is 100 rooms in a 10 by 10 layout. You basically have to trial and error your way through the game if you don't have a map. So you have to use your keys, make a map, and if you get stuck, you basically have to start over. But of course I know exactly where I'm going, so I'll give you a countdown and we'll get this started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Now I ran this game last year in Best of NES, and back then my record was 5.5 minutes slower. Since then, there have been some new innovations, and this is going to be a lot shorter. So there are 4 new tricks that I wasn't doing before that I'm going to do today, and I'm going to describe them all when I get to the appropriate moments. I don't see myself forgetting to do anything of great importance. If I left a key behind or something like that, we might be totally stuck. And that would be disastrous, but I don't see myself forgetting anything in this route. By the way, this music is wonderful and not at all repetitive, so prepare yourself for a very engrossing soundtrack. This room features trick number 1. We had a very tight margin to get up onto this elevator. I didn't have to do it before because I used to enter this room from above rather than from the side there. Nope, gotta go this way. This room I like to call the key exchange room, and in this particular route we actually are going to exchange every single one of our keys for the keys behind these doors. We're even going to go into this room and exchange for this pink key. And we're doing it all in a specific order, the most efficient order. We're going to come back for the 2 keys below, because after we get those we're going to go left. But first we want to go down here for 2 spare keys, which are very necessary. Pardon me. 2 spare yellow keys. These floor barriers are very important. They rotate on a global timer. That's going to be very important for later, but basically they stay closed when they're moving, like they are right now. You can walk over that like a normal surface, and then when they stop moving, you can go through them. But the reason I mentioned the global timer is because there was a trick that was discovered where basically... Hang on. I better be... Whoop! Gotta re-enter this room. Looks like we're gonna make it, yes. So, we're gonna use the second player controller to basically manipulate the global timer in this game. Right now I have to wait for an elevator on the left to go up and come back down. We can't catch it in time. So I'm just gonna stay over here to avoid sprite lag. The more sprites that are on the screen in this game, the more lag there is, and it turns out to be fairly significant. So we're going to have trick number 2 up here. There's going to be a witch that spawns enemies, and we're going to use the reset menu to manipulate the global timer on when it spawns, and you're going to see why shortly. So just a little reset there. What's going to happen is the witch is going to spawn an enemy at a very specific time and location. We have to do this just perfect to get there in time, and when it does... And we got it! So, you can't touch enemies, but when they're spawning there briefly for a moment, you can actually step on the spawn. So when we do that timing just perfectly, we can use that enemy spawn to jump up into a room that we're not supposed to be able to access for a very long time. Same thing here, by the way. We are waiting out some elevators on the left, trying to minimize lag staying over here. So we still have some waiting to go before we can go up. But yeah, that was trick number 2, and I was so blown away when I saw that you could do that. It skips a large portion of the game, and that's one of the major reasons this route is now 5.5 minutes shorter than the route I did last year. This is kind of a neat idea. These moving elevators will kill you if you touch them on the side, so you can't go into there to get those green keys without a safe, but when you push a safe in, it will actually freeze the elevators, and whoa! Oh, I have to reset this room. That was a mistake. But yeah, when you push a safe in here, the elevators get frozen on the right, and you can get the keys. We only need 1. This route is very marathon safe. If anything goes wrong, I can always just reset the room. In the Japanese version, you start with many less lives. In this version, for whatever reason, we start with 50 lives, so there's no risk. Every time you do a reset, it costs you a life, but it's just not a concern, because we have so many extras. So here we have to re-enter this room to get this key. And we're 2 rooms away from the longest room in this route. It's kind of an intricate puzzle, but even this intricate puzzle has become shorter since last year when I ran it. We're going to use an intentional suicide to speed up what happens in this room. Basically, we need to free that movement block in between these 2 doors to get an elevator out of the way of a door we're going to go through at the bottom of the screen. And normally we'd move around some safes on the right in an elaborate attempt to get the block in position, but with a suicide, we can restart the room without those doors at the top, and we can do a much faster setup. So what's going to happen is, we're going to go straight back up there, and instead of bringing that block to the middle, right below me here, we're going to just push it to the left, and use the very brief portion of rope at the top to move the elevator. And that's all we need. So yeah, it's a very elaborate setup to get the block to the right place otherwise, right below where it is right now, but this is much faster. Don't have to worry about how fast we go in this room, because no matter what we do, we have to wait for this... Oh, whoops, that's not a good jump. We have to wait for this elevator to cycle regardless, so it doesn't actually matter. Same thing in this room, doesn't matter if we're sloppy with it, because we have to wait for these floor barriers to cycle. And now they're open. Pretty much same thing in this room. Once again, we have to wait for this elevator to cycle. Now this is a bit of a bonus key room. In this route, it turns out we're going to pick up 5 of these keys, and the other 3 we actually don't need, so we're just going to leave them. Music change! I wouldn't do something like that just for music in a speedrun, obviously. We are invincible, and that allows us to fall through spikes. But it's not just for speed, it's also very important for our route. We're going to be able to go a much faster way now. Because of this, we can land on this spike here and jump over here. It's the only way to get over here. And I took a little extra time there, so just in case, we're going to refill our invincibility meter. Should be fine. Same idea here, we have to wait for that elevator at the top right to come back down, so we're just going to wait here for a bit. This game features, you know, for how small the rooms are and how simplistic the concept is, this game features a lot of really intricate puzzles that I really liked as a kid. So we've done 2 of the new tricks. In the next room after this one, we're going to be doing trick number 3, which is essentially, I don't know how frame perfect a jump it is, but I've got to be very precise. And you'll see why in a sec. And now, yes, we got it. So it looked like we sort of jumped off of mid-air there. That might just be frame perfect, I don't know for sure. And trick number 4 is in this room. This is where we're going to use the manipulate the global timer to cycle where that floor barrier starts. That should do it. And as long as we can make it past here, we're good. Nope. That happens sometimes. The global timer in this game is a little weird, so we're just going to restart it here, reset it up. That should work. Looks better, and we're good. I'm going to be quiet for just a moment here because I need some very precise setup in this room. Need to get this block just over there, and this one just over there, and now we're good. Oh. Okay, I gotta wait for the elevator to cycle here. That is also something that will happen sometimes. And on we go. So the main theme of the ending in this game, officially as of the last room, we have entered the ending zone, and the theme of the ending is that red keys are very rare. So in order to beat the game, we're going to need to find a lot of red keys, and that's basically what we're doing for the next few rooms. In the next room above, there are 3 of those cats. We need to get rid of them. They cause a ton of lag. So we're just going to very carefully get rid of them. And now the room will go much faster. Need to collect some extra keys. And on we go. Now here we're going to have another death to get an extra key, but we're going to set it up. Oh, whoops, hang on, that's not right. This is what we want to do. We want the red key, and we're going to suicide immediately so that we get back up there. There's no way to get back up without a death here. So that's an intentional suicide for rooting purposes. We did pick up that red key, and that allows us to get across to the left side. You absolutely need to clear all those doors. And now we're going to do some more key collecting. We're back into this elevator trick room. We don't need the pink key, so I'm actually going to leave it there. And again, we're going to have another intentional suicide here. So that we get straight back over to the right. Now I only need one of these green keys, but I'm not even sure if there is a way to avoid getting both of them, so I'm just going to get both of them. We're going to end up with 1 green key when we finish the game. The old route I ended with 0 keys, and I always thought that was aesthetically very pleasing, but I don't really see a way to do that here, so I won't worry about it. Here we're going to do a very precise entrance to avoid these cats and stab them on our way out. We have to open up those doors to set up the victory, and you can see we still need 2 red keys to liberate the princess. But we only have 1, so we've got to get 1 more. Oops, need both of these. So we're going to simultaneously get ourselves back into position and get the last red key we need. Still can't save you yet, princess, despite having entered this room a great many times. Here's our final red key. The timer will end when the prince makes contact with the princess, he'll sort of be half a pixel over from her. But we have our red keys, we're ready to do this. And time. And that is the very lovely puzzle game Castlequest. And there are the credits, and it just plays the exact same little ending bit of music.